What's up, Ethereans? Now, it's been quite some time since the exclusive CBT on the Chinese side that we were able to take part of. And I'm actually really excited because we have a ton of things to get into in today's video. We are getting into the developer video that was released on the Chinese side, and we are going to be breaking this down. This is fully translated by yours truly. So, of course, sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and let's get right into it. Now, we start things out with the first interview being with the art director, Zheng Jinyu, where they actually discuss quite a bit, and they even go with starting out with showcasing one of the new characters coming into the game, Doki. Now, one of the things that was really interesting about this is that they mentioned two different things, or two key points. Well, number one, Doki is actually a boss character, and what they wanted to do was basically taking player feedback. They wanted to start changing and making some of the bosses playable characters for people to be able to take advantage of or enjoy if they ended up liking them. So this was one of those characters that they found a lot of players liked, and they decided to actually tweak the character design-wise, and then they're also tweaking the kit to make the game, essentially balanced when they implement the character so that players can enjoy this character that they ended up falling in love with. And they said that they actually plan on to continue to do this so that players can actually have, essentially a little bit of say in what type of characters they get within the game, which I actually think is really cool. Now, one thing that I wasn't expecting for them to mention in this section was with the art director, it was brought up that there was a lot of black characters in the game. And they said that this is something that they found to be really beautiful. And the character designs, especially with how they've been compiling them with the hair, the texturing of the clothing, they really like the appeal. And so the art director confirmed that there's definitely going to be a ton more of characters like this. And I feel like this was something that I really liked because this just means that there's going to be a very diverse roster. And this is actually a part of their plan. It's not just something random necessarily. So really, really good job on their part. Now, moving on to the next portion of this interview, we actually were able to sit down with Yang, which is one of the planners for Team 1. Now, this interview was quite interesting because we got a lot of information about not only PvP, but also some QOL things that they wanted to add to the game. Now, I want to touch on this PvP segment first because this was one of the big things that I was like, okay, they are really trying to cook in this area. Now, we all know that PvP tends to be extremely imbalanced, but they're trying their best to make sure that they're bringing us a PvP that is extremely balanced and everyone can take advantage of and would actually like to do. So what they decided to do and what they mentioned was that each character, for example, they use Liam as an example. They have awakenings. So the awakening modules, the second and fifth, for example, actually give a indispensable buff, which basically can increase the character's attack power, for example. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to completely take away this mechanism in PvP. And this is so that they can ensure not only PvP fairness, but at the same time, they wanted to also make it to where people could still be surprised even if they have the exact same unit on the field. Now, I feel like this is also hinting at the pet system that they have in the game because you are able to equip a pet to every single player or every single character on your team. And these can give you varying buffs, attack, defense, anything you can really think of, they can do it, right? So I feel like that's what they're kind of hinting at with giving us diversity there, but also not making it directly just because this person has, 55 dupes, they're going to just perform so much better than you. Now, continuous battle was also brought up as well. And from the CBT, we were only able to do 5 retries. So they now are stating that they are solving this problem and they're making it to where we're able to have more opportunities to have more backline fighting and being able to get some of the things done that we want to get done. So we're not having to spend all day doing it, which is really nice. And lastly, one of the big things that they brought up here was that for our daily things, whether it be for completing daily tasks, achievements, and or just activities period in the game, they wanted to ensure that they're, and really honestly reassuring us, that there was going to be a ton of gacha tickets and as well as premium currency for everyone to take advantage of. Now, one thing that's really important to remember too is that within the game, there's a lot of things that you can buy with the premium currency. Like as far as I would say resource packs and things like that. They don't X out free to play. So this is something that's actually going to be really important for you to take advantage of. And they're trying to ensure that there's currency in the game for you to also pull on the gacha, but also for you to be able to buy and get those packs with proper management. So this, again, is another W for the team. Now, lastly, for what I would consider the most important interview, they actually interviewed the producer of the game, Nashia. And this had a lot of things that I was not expecting to be answered, but the very first thing was something that I felt like was the elephant in the room. When are we actually going to get our hands on the game? And they go to actually answer that with their current expectations, it would be this fall. Everyone can experience the new game's version. Now, what's really interesting is that at the recording of this video, we are currently in August, but fall is anywhere from September to November. So we could honestly be seeing it come probably closer to the end of November, considering that I would expect that they're still, from what it seemed from this interview, planning on running at least one more test phase. So that's basically that. But that's still extremely hype because that is super close that we'll actually be able to get our hands on the finalized version of the game potentially. Now, of course, with that, the other thing that was confirmed after them getting the information and feedback from the previous tests was that because that this is going to be a strategic turn-based game, they really wanted to make sure there was a lot of characters. A lot of players were asking, hey, are there going to be more characters? Is it going to be consistent? And they go to confirm that with a lot of the things that they have going on, the producer is working directly with the art director to ensure that we are going to have a ton of new characters to help us diversify and build different strategies. So in conjunction to the characters, they also mentioned that they're already working on a new main storyline that they're going to be adding into the game. They're also going to be giving and expanding on having new cutscenes. Also, new plots are also being developed as well. So there's a lot of things that they're already cooking up before we even get into the game, which is great because that means that we're going to have pending content, and hopefully when the game releases, we'll even be able to see something like a roadmap, which would be even more amazing to know what potential content we could be looking forward to. Now, of course, with that, it was lastly asked about what type of game that they wanted this game to be, with the entire approach, with the atmosphere, and with it being a sci-fi game. And the producer goes to answer that they basically wanted to essentially take the universe and implement basically the future world with the virtual world. And so kind of playing into that with adding the turn-based combat was essentially one of the main goals, to create an interesting story and to really honestly expand on that. Now, one of the things that I really appreciated with this interview was that they actually go to mention how this was a passion project for them. And so with that, a lot of the times what we tend to see is individuals that actually either know how these types of games work or they love how these types of games work. And the producer mentioned that a lot of the players or the members on the team are players of turn-based games, and they absolutely are fans of them. And that's something that is being poured into the game, which is allowing them to create something that they feel like is going to be and have a lot of depth of strategy, and is definitely going to be a very sustainable or durable game in his words. So that was one of the main reasons why they went with this style and type of game. In conjunction to this, they also mentioned that lastly, story was one of the big components that they really wanted to develop and grow and build upon. They really wanted players to have an emotional tie into the game. And I think that this, of course, is another major point, because sometimes character art and design and even gameplay isn't enough. What can you make your players feel about your game to keep them coming back for update to update and really wanting the next unit? And so I feel like they answered perfectly a lot of the things that we were wondering, and even really honestly answering to different parts and groups within the community that are looking for different things. So of course, with that, guys, that's going to be that for this developers video. Again, make sure that you guys like and subscribe for all things Etheria Restart, which we will be housing here. The videos are going to be ramping because content is starting to pick up, and I'm actually really excited. Again, we'll have the inside scoop on when the official release date will be set, which is looking like it's going to be kind of close. So with that, guys, everyone stay blessed, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.